Rocklands Reservoir has been on my list for a while now, so I'm stoked to finally get out here. After consulting Wiki Camps, we picked Brodie's Corner campsite for the first night. Somehow we managed to pick the windiest clearing possible when we arrived in the dark last night, so first priority this morning is finding a better site. There's a bunch of us on this trip: Lockie and Holly in the Ranger, Ollie and Morgs in the Nav, my sister Lauren and Vit's brother Azario in the Big Bad Pathfinder, and there'll be a few more tapping in later on. The beauty of this place is pretty much any clearing along the reservoir banks is up for grabs. First in, best dressed. We found the perfect spot and set up just before an absolute dumping of rain came through. Once the rain finally ceased, we went down to the banks to see if we couldn't snag a line. Mission successful.
What happened? Snag. We're eating good tonight.
Nah, that's dinner sorted.
The day was coming to a close, so naturally we were keen to get a fire going. I'd argue there isn't many better ways to kick off the morning than a cold swim followed by a good brekkie. While the weather was alright, we thought we'd better get our legs moving and explore further along the reservoir. Two new additions joined the group today: Ollie's sister Layla and his mate Gus. To everyone's surprise, the sun came out beaming and the day turned from winter to summer. Vibes were at an all-time high. At sunset, we thought it'd be rude not to go drop another line in.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
How many boys does it take to catch a fish?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Why are we getting the novice to do this?
Yeah, redfish. It is a little redfish. Nice.
Gus, get the fish!
Oh, no.
Give him a kiss, Goosey.
We must have had our beer goggles firmly on because that is definitely not a redfin. With more wet weather forecasted, we decided to move on today. A hike and a different campsite is on the cards, but not before a stop in Balmoral to top up on supplies. Chimney Pots is a 4K return hike that guides you through heaps of interesting rock formations. Although it's not a very long walk, it's considered difficult due to how steep it is for the majority of the way. This area of the Grampians always blows me away. Down in the valley, you'd be forgiven for thinking you're in the outback, and then heading up into the hills, it resembles the high country. On the way to our next campsite, we unsuspectingly turned up one of the more difficult marked tracks in the area, Lauder's Track. At the first serious obstacle, it was decided that we'd rather come back without the trailer, and that's where the trouble began. There wasn't going to be room to turn the trailer around while it was attached to the nab, so we unhitched and attempted to push it around by hand. We were making slow progress, but the jockey wheel was not having a bar of it and sheared off. With the help of the old farm jack, we eventually got there and we were moving again.
Alright, now try to go straight back from there.
Oh.
That's it. Hold there. We can adjust.
Pulling up to Kickajar Heights campground, we knew instantly that fitting everyone was going to be a squeeze. After a bit of Tetris, managing to find the perfect spot to perch the patrol up on some rocks, we all set up and braced for the weather. The wind got stronger and the rain got even heavier as the night went on. Had we known how bad it was going to get, we probably wouldn't have stayed. We might have been hanging crap on Grandpa Ollie's camper earlier in the day, but none of us were complaining about the shelter it was providing now. In the morning, we were able to grab a glimpse of the view that this site provided, but the weather was still pretty angry. Having got next to no sleep all night, we were pretty keen to get the heck out of there and seek some refuge.
How much sleep did you get last night?
Probably 2 minutes.
Buendick Campground was that refuge, a super quiet Vic Park site at the far west side of the Grampians National Park. First things first, strong coffees all round, then some maintenance on the trailer so we could get out for a drive.
This is why you don't skull drag your jockey wheel on an angle through the mud, because the bolts shear and they end up like that and it's not sexy.
We dipped out to give the cars a run on a few tracks I had explored previously, but the other guys hadn't. We drove up Goat Track and along Victoria Range Road. I've been here before, but these views just never get old. To round out the day, we did a short walk from camp up to Buendick Falls, which was flowing furiously. After last night, energy was pretty low, so we had a quiet one around the fire before hitting the hay. Final pack down of the trip, but we're not done yet. We're going to do one last hike to Manja Shelter, an easy 2-kilometre walk not far from here. huge thanks to everyone who came along on this trip and made it such a wicked time. The next one can't come soon enough. Links to all the campsites we stayed at are in the description below. Catch you in the next one.